Well, I'm not going to summarize the workshop. I mean, we are all tired, and I just tried. I like to make a few comments about what I heard during these 2 days as a conclusion. As usual, we had a broad panorama of the present situation here in Fukushima. Things are evolving. This situation is evolving. We had good presentations of specialists, of experts. We had personal testimonies. And we also, it was important to listen to the lessons learned by foreign organizations. There were, during these 2 days, a few key points that have been raised. I think yesterday, Dr. Miyazaki's presentation, the role of what he is calling interpreters. I think this is an important point, I think, because this is also this is the lesson from, it was the lesson from Chernobyl, and it is now the lesson of Fukushima. There is a need in these very complex and peculiar situations, which are the post-accident situations, to have these people who are bridging between local inhabitants, experts, authorities, and there is a need of a special skill for that, and it's very important. There is another topic which was important. It was raised by Mr. Arima. This is the perspective of the communities, not to think in terms of population versus authorities, but to think in terms of people living in communities with their traditions, with their specificities, and also the role of experts and the role of authorities with regard to these communities. Today there was also the issue of sustainability, of transmission, how to maintain links and how to connect people in the future. I think these are topics which emerge during this workshop. But I'd like just to say a few words about three, I would say, highlights of this workshop. The first one is the exhibition of Yun Takai. I take them chronologically. The exhibition, I mean, it is obvious that the accident has thrown a sort of dark veil on Fukushima. Everything is, at the beginning when I came here, first time in September 2011, I saw through the eyes of people and through their words that everything was looking grey here in Fukushima. And slowly, over the years, colors have started to come again. And I think this is the role of artists to help this process of recovering the color and the brightness of the place we are living. And I mean, through his photos, it is clearly a way of recovering the colors. But I think if you go through the exhibition and you look at these photos, and you don't know where these photos have been taken, you can think that it is normal life somewhere in Japan, maybe in the south, maybe in the north. If you are a foreign person, you don't know exactly, you cannot recognize. And it means that you need the colors, you need the photos, but you need also a narrative. You need words. You need to tell the story. And to put the story, to put the photos in front of the story, with the story, the story. I mean, this was a remark made by Jean-François Lecomte we discussed yesterday, and I think this is a very important point. I mean, there is a need. I will come back on this issue of narrative. The second highlight was the drummers. The drummers. It's the third time that we have that the drummers are coming and play for us. When I was listening to these drummers, I thought, oh, this is the deep beat of Fukushima. And I was moved as like the first and the second time. But as I was listening to the drummers, my neighbor, Jacques Repusat, said to me, you know, this is coming from the dawn of time. Long time ago. You can feel it by listening carefully. But at the same time, I was observing or looking at Mr. Omori. And Mr. Omori was tapping with his feet. He is a fine connoisseur, you know, as a jazzman, he knows about rhythm. And this came to my mind. I said, oh, he is the jazzman, he's good with the rhythm. And I saw he was totally trapped by the rhythm. And I was recently attending a concert in Paris of Brad Meldo, the trio of Brad Meldo, and there was a fantastic drummer. And so, suddenly it was echoing. The rhythm of the drummer and of the Brad Meldo trio and the drummers here, something was all the same. That was a very strange impression. Yes, the third point I like to, of course, this to emphasize is the presentation of the high school students. I was listening to them, and I was impressed by the quality of their presentation. And then I was thinking, you know, I'm always wandering with my mind, but I was thinking last September, I was in Komarin, 30 kilometers away from the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. And I was there with Dr. Masaharu Tsubokura, because we were we were speakers in an international course on post-accident situation. And this course was for, I would say, young officers from different organizations in Europe. And part of this training course was to visit the city of Komarin, and the local professionals, they organized a short workshop, a small workshop, to explain what's the local situation of Komarin 30 years after the accident. And Komarin was heavily, suffered a lot. I mean, they were 30 kilometers away from Chernobyl, and the situation was extremely severe at the beginning, in the first years after the accident. Many people left, of course, but some of them stayed and wanted to stay there. You know, this city is just on the verge of the 30-kilometer zone. Sometimes you are in the street and people say, okay, the zone is just a few hundred meters there. So you can imagine how to live in such an environment. And it turns out that during the workshop, the presentation about the situation was made by high school students, the high school students from Komarin. And they were dressed with the traditional Belarus costume, very nice costume, and they made a fantastic presentation, like the presentation you made today. And you know, all the students in bracket of the course, they were taking notes and they were impressed and asking questions. And they got answers. And after the lecture, we went to a classroom where there were equipment for doing measurements. And there were samples of mushrooms and fish, dried fish, fresh fish, and they made measurements for us and explaining how they are continuously measuring the food in Komarin. So, and I was thinking, well, you know, high school students in Belarus, high school students in Fukushima, I think this is the way that the so-called practical radiation protection culture will certainly develop in the future, thanks to the young generation. This culture is just to know what is important, what is not important, what is at stake with radiation, when you have to worry, when you have not to worry. Radiation can be very harmful, can be very dangerous at a very high level. But with low level, we can live without any problem. And you have to know when it is important and when it is not important to make your mind. And this is, for me, what we call the culture. Personally, I come to my conclusion. I learned a lot, once again, during this workshop, and I learned a lot during all the 12 dialogues. And for me, the key of these dialogues was the narrative, what I call the narrative of Fukushima. The dialogues have been the voice of Fukushima. The dialogues have given the words of Fukushima. And the message of the dialogue is an invaluable contribution to the memory of Fukushima. It is a precious asset for Fukushima people, but also for Japan and for the rest of the world. And I think this is very important that we keep the track on this dialogue. And I'd like to thank Ethos in Fukushima in this respect, because we have a lot of material, unfortunately for us in Japanese, but I hope that one day or another there will be a university somewhere in the world that will decide to work on that and to have PhDs. That will be a way to work on this really important material. And we will have also, as mentioned by Mrs. Ando, we will have the web doc soon, and I know that there is also a movie, documentary film that is in preparation. So there will be material. Well, with this workshop, I think we close the first chapter of the dialogue. What will be the other chapters, I don't know, but there will be other chapters. You know, you cannot stop speaking about what you are living. This is the essence of human beings, is to speak to each other. Of course, the key is in this transmission is that you must trust the words of the other. Otherwise, there is no way to live together. If you cannot trust together, if we don't trust each other, we cannot survive. So this is very important, that there are places where we can confront discuss different perspectives, different convictions, but this is essential to continue to speak. ICRP, of course, will remain committed. We will respond positively to any request to participate to meetings, to participate to maybe future dialogues. We will be there. ICRP will not take the initiative of organizing future dialogues, but we are ready to continue to be with you and to help if we can, if you think we can be useful in what you want to do in the future. Personally, and this is an idea that I'd like to discuss with my colleagues, I think it will be important to maintain the links that have been established between Fukushima, Belarus, and Norway. what happened during these dialogues, this transmission of experience, was unbelievable for me. I mean, this is beyond what I would have expected. I mean, when I remember the impact of the speeches, of the presentations of the Norwegian colleagues, or the Belarus colleagues, that was very important, and I can imagine, if I hope not, of course, but if one day in the future there is another group of people or population which is confronted with contamination in its environment, I mean, it will be extremely important that you contribute to help them to see the picture in a better way, because at the beginning they will be lost, as you have been lost, as the Chernobyl people were also totally lost. Now I'd like to thank all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank the city of Date, of course Mayor Nishida, and Takahiro Anzawa. Without your support, it would have been difficult to have the 12th dialogue here, and thank you very much for your ongoing support. I remember very well Mayor Nishida. After I think it was after the third dialogue, we came, Otsura Sensei, Chris Clement and myself, we visited you, and we asked if it could be possible to envisage a future dialogue in Date. And you said to us, it would be nice if you would be invited by other municipalities. And you said, I hope that other municipalities will invite you. But you said, but anyway, if you are not invited, you can always rely on Date City. I think that was great. Thank you very much, once again. Thank you also for the organizations that have supported the dialogue during all these years. There is a long list. This is the list which is on the program. I will start with the Japanese organization. I think it's important to mention them. I don't know, there is nothing to think about the order, I will list them, but ethos in Fukushima, Fukushima Medical University, Fukushima Prefecture, the Japan Health Physics Society, the Japanese Cabinet Office, the Japanese Nuclear Regulatory Authority, the Ministry of the Environment of Japan, and finally Radiation Safety Forum Japan. The whole dialogue started because of Radiation Safety Forum Japan. And of course I'd like to thank our supporters, those who really supported not only by allowing people to come here and to share with you and to work with you, to listen to you, but also to contribute to, in one way or another, to the success of the dialogue, but also who supported financially these 12 dialogues. Here again, there is no particular meaning to the order I will quote them, but NEA, the Nuclear Energy Agency, IRSN, the Institute of Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety from France, NRPA, the Norwegian Radiation Protection Authority, and the French Authority of Nuclear Safety, ASN, and more recently, the Nippon Foundation, which joined the club. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much. Of course, thank you to all the participants of this workshop and all the participants of the previous dialogues, all the workers, all the speakers, all the observers. Thank you also for the interpreters. Well done. You are doing a marvelous job. We have not the feeling we are abroad. I think it's fantastic. Mrs. Kimiyo Mashida, Mrs. Haruko Ota, Mrs. Marie Kito, thank you once again for your fantastic support. Well, I think I have nothing else to say. Once again, thank you very much. For me, it's a lot of emotion to address you. I know I will come back. It's clear. I have already a commitment next February. I have another one in March. I have another one in April. I have another one. I think May. I will not come, but June certainly, and July. Since yesterday. I know I will come back. So, I will come back. You will have to support me again and again. Okay, thank you, and bye-bye.